The stars were quiet that night. Captain Junho Park stood on the bridge of the Sejong and watched the endless black through the main window. His ship was small, just a patrol frigate, but she was fast and strong. They'd been flying through empty space for 3 weeks now. Nothing exciting had happened. Junho was almost bored. Then Yuna Cho sat up straight at her station. Her eyes went wide. "Captain," she said, "I am getting something strange." Junho walked over to her. Yuna was young, only 24, but she was the best communications officer he had ever worked with. She could hear things in radio waves that others missed. "What is it?" he asked. "A signal. It is repeating. The same pattern over and over." She pressed some buttons and the sound filled the bridge. It was not words. It was a series of tones, rising and falling like a heartbeat that was slowing down. "I do not know this language, but the math is clear. This is a distress call." Commander Tai Wu-shin stepped forward. He was older than Junho, with gray in his hair and scars on his hands. He had been a soldier for 30 years. "Could be a trap," he said. "Pirates use fake signals sometimes." "Maybe," Junho said. "Where is it coming from?" Yuna checked her screens. Her face became pale. "Sector 79, near the Voss pulsar." Everyone on the bridge went silent. The Voss pulsar was a dead star that spun very fast and threw out deadly radiation. Ships did not go near it. Ships that went near it did not come back. "How many ships?" Junho asked. Yuna worked for a moment. "I count 43 signals. All weak. All drifting toward the pulsar. 43 ships. Drifting without power toward death." Taiwu shook his head. "We cannot help 43 ships. We are one frigate. And if we go into that radiation zone, we die too." Junho knew he was right. The smart thing was to report the signal and keep moving. Let someone else deal with it. But he kept thinking about those tones. That heartbeat, getting slower and slower. How long before they reached the radiation zone? He asked. 6 hours, Yuna said. "Maybe 7. Junho made his decision. "Take us in." Full speed. Taiwu opened his mouth to argue, but he saw the look in his captain's eyes. He had served with Junho for 5 years. He knew that look. There was no point in arguing. The Sejong turned and flew toward the dying stars. They saw the fleet 2 hours later. It was the saddest thing Junho had ever seen. The ships were beautiful once. They were shaped like teardrops, with silver hulls that caught the light of distant stars. But now they were broken. Holes in their sides. Fires burning in some. Others dark and cold, spinning slowly with no power at all. "Life signs?" Junho asked. Lieutenant Hana Yoon checked her screens. She was the tactical officer, sharp and quick. "Yes, thousands of them. They are alive in there." "Open a channel," Junho said. "All frequencies." Yuna sent the signal. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then a voice came through. It was strange, musical, like wind through pipes. Yuna worked fast, running the words through the translation program. "They are called the Orvani," she said. "The speaker is High Admiral Velrus." "She is. She's asking who we are. Tell her we are from Earth. Tell her we are here to help." Yuna sent the message. The reply came back, and Yuna's voice shook as she translated. She says, "She does not understand. She asks what we want in return." Junho frowned. "Tell her we want nothing. We saw her signal. We came." Another pause. Then the screen flickered and a face appeared. High Admiral Velrus was tall and thin, with blue-gray skin and large dark eyes. She had a wound on her forehead, and her uniform was torn. She looked like she had not slept in days. When she spoke, the translation came through in Yuna's voice. You are truly here to help? You do not know us. We have nothing to give. You have people who need help, Junho said. That is enough. Valrus stared at him for a long time. Then she did something strange. Her shoulders dropped. Her eyes closed. When she opened them again, they were wet. The Krell Dominion attacked our homeworld 6 cycles ago, she said. They killed billions. This fleet. This is all that remains of our people. 200,000 souls. We have been running ever since. Every world we asked for help turned us away. The Krell follow us. They always find us. 3 days ago, they caught us at the Narith Corridor. They destroyed our engines. Now we drift toward death, and I cannot save my people. Junho felt cold. 200,000 people. The last of their kind. Drifting toward a pulsar because no one would help them. You asked for help before, he said. What happened? Valrus laughed, but it was not a happy sound. The Krell are strong. No one wants to anger them. So everyone looks away. We are already dead to them. Junho turned to Taiwu. The old soldier's face was hard, but his eyes were not. He was thinking about those 200,000 people too. We need more ships, Junho said. Yuna, send a priority signal to Coalition Command. Tell them everything. Tell them to send everyone they can. Sir, Hannah said quietly. If we send that signal, the Krell will hear it too. They will know where we are. I know, Junho said. He looked at Valrus on the screen. She was watching him with those large dark eyes. She did not look hopeful. She looked like someone who had stopped hoping long ago. Help is coming, Junho told her. I promise. Valrus said nothing. But she did not look away. Outside, the broken fleet drifted on. And far away, in the dark between stars, something else was listening. Dr. Minho Kang had not slept in 20 hours. His eyes were red, and his hands were dirty with grease and strange blue gel that the Orvani used instead of oil. But he could not stop. Not now. He was inside the engine room of the Orvani flagship. It was like nothing he had ever seen. Human engines used metal and wires and computers. These engines use crystals. Beautiful crystals, as big as a man, glowing with soft light. Or they should have been glowing. Most of them were dark now, cracked. Dead Dot and Orvani engineer stood next to him. Her name was something Minho could not say, so he called her Blue in his head because of her skin. She was pointing at a broken crystal and making sounds that his translator turned into words. This cannot be fixed, Blue said. The harmonic pattern is destroyed. We would need a new crystal. We do not have new crystals. Minho looked at the broken crystal. Then he looked at the machines around it. He was an engineer. He solved problems. That was what engineers did. Show me how the power moves, he said. Blue looked confused, but she showed him. She drew lines in the air with her long fingers, explaining how energy flowed from crystal to crystal in waves. It was like music, she said. Each crystal sang to the next. Minho watched and listened. His brain was working fast. What if, he said slowly, we do not fix the crystal? What if we go around it? Blue did not understand. Minho pulled out a small device from his bag. It was a human power regulator, simple and ugly compared to the crystals. But it could control energy flow. If I put this between the broken crystal and the next one, he said, it can carry the power across. Like a bridge. That is not how our technology works, Blue said. Crystal and metal do not mix. Let me try. Blue looked at him for a long time. Then she stepped back. Minho worked for an hour. He burned his fingers twice. The regulator sparked and almost exploded once. But slowly, carefully, he connected the human device to the alien crystals. Now, he said, turn it on. Blue made a sound, that might have been a prayer. She touched a panel. The crystals began to glow. First dim, then brighter. The engine hummed. Minho felt the floor shake under his feet as power returned. Blue stared at the glowing crystals. Then she stared at Minho. Her dark eyes were very wide. "This should not work," she said. Man Ho smiled. He was very tired, but he smiled. "Humans are stubborn. We make things work." Back on the Sejong, Captain Junho received the news. One engine was working. That was not enough. They needed more. "How many engines can you fix?" he asked Minho through the radio. "I do not know. I need more power regulators. I need more time. I need more hands." Junho turned to his crew. "Anyone who knows engineering, go help Dr. Kang. Take every spare part we have." 12 crew members left the Sejong and flew to the Ovani ships. They spread out, working with Ovani engineers who did not speak their language. They talked with their hands. They drew pictures. They showed each other how things worked. It was strange. It was difficult. But slowly, more engines came back online. 1 ship, then 3. Then 7. High Admiral Velrus came to see Minho in the engine room. She watched him crawl through a small tube that was too tight for her people. He came out covered in blue gel, holding a broken wire. "Found it," he said. "Give me 10 minutes." Velrus turned to Sub-Commander Thera, who stood beside her. Tyra was tall and strong, a warrior. She had fought the Krull many times. "What kind of creatures are these humans?" Thera asked quietly. "I do not know," Velrus said. "But I'm beginning to think we were very lucky that they found us." On the Sejong, Hana Yoon was not thinking about luck. She was thinking about time. Her screen showed her 2 things. First, the Coalition fleet. 4 ships, coming as fast as they could. They would arrive in 16 hours. Second, something else. Something moving toward them from the other direction. "Captain," she said, "I have bad news." Junho walked to her station. She showed him the screen. 8 dots moving fast. And 1 bigger dot behind them. "Krell hunting pack," she said. 8 cruisers and 1 dreadnought. "They heard our signal. How long?" Hannah's voice was flat. 12 hours. 12 hours. The Krell would arrive 4 hours before help came. Junho stood very still. Around him his crew watched. They knew the numbers too. They knew what this meant. "Keep working," Junho said. "Get as many Orvani engines running as you can." "Sir," Taiwu said. "Even if they can fly, they cannot outrun Krell cruisers. And they cannot fight. Their weapons are destroyed." "I know. So what is the plan?" Junho looked out the window at the broken Orvani fleet. Thousands of lights, each one a person. Children. Families. The last of their kind. "We buy them time," he said. Taiwu understood. His face became hard, like stone. "The Sejong against 9 warships. We will die." "Maybe," Junho said. "But we have 12 hours. A lot can happen in 12 hours. He turned to Hana. "I want a full tactical analysis. Everything we know about how the Krell fight. Every weakness. Every mistake they have ever made." Hana nodded. "Yes, sir. And Hana?" "Find me a way to win." Hana looked at her captain. She was not a person who hoped for miracles. She believed in numbers and facts. But something in Junho's voice made her believe, just for a moment, that maybe miracles were real. "I will try," she said. Outside, the Krell ships flew closer. They were hungry. They had been chasing this prey for weeks. They did not expect any trouble. They had never met humans before. The Krell ships came out of hyperspace like wolves. 8 cruisers spread out in a wide circle. Behind them, the dreadnought moved slowly forward. It was massive, black and red, covered with weapons that could crack a planet open. High Admiral Velrus stood on her bridge and watched them come. She had seen this before. At her homeworld, when the sky turned to fire. At a dozen other places where her people tried to hide and failed. She turned to her crew. They were scared. Some of them were crying, but they stood at their posts. They would die standing. "Begin the final records," Velrus said. Her voice was calm. "Make sure everything is saved. Our history, our songs, our science. If anyone ever finds us, they will know who we were." An officer began recording. Velrus spoke into the device, telling the story of her people. How they had lived for 10,000 years. How they had built beautiful things. How they had died running from monsters. Then her communication screen lit up. A human face appeared. "Captain Jun-Ho Park." "Admiral Velrus," he said. "Are your engines working?" "Some of them. Maybe 20 ships can move. But we cannot run. The Krell are too fast." "I know. I have a different plan." Velrus felt tired. So very tired. What plan can work against 9 warships? Your ship is small. 1 frigate cannot fight a dreadnought. "We do not need to win," Jun-Ho said. "We just need to give you 30 minutes. 30 minutes? My engineer says your shields can hold for 30 minutes if you put all power to defense. No weapons, no engines, just shields. In 30 minutes, coalition reinforcements will be close enough to help. And what will you do for 30 minutes? Jun-Ho smiled. It was a strange smile, calm and sad at the same time. "We will keep them busy." Sub-Commander Thyra stepped forward. She had been listening. "This is madness. You will die in the first 5 minutes. Then we will die. Your plan changes nothing." "Maybe," Jun-Ho said. "But we have a weapon the Krell have not seen before. And we have Lieutenant Yoon." On the Sejong, Hana Yoon was ready. She had spent 12 hours studying every battle the Krell had ever fought. She knew how they thought, how they moved, how they made mistakes. "They are aggressive," she told Jun-Ho. "They always attack hard and fast. They expect their enemies to run or to die quickly. They do not know how to fight someone who fights back." "What about the dreadnought?" "It is slow. Very powerful, but slow. The cruisers do the real hunting. If we can hurt the cruisers, the dreadnought becomes confused." "And our gravitational lance?" Hannah smiled. It was a small smile, but it was real. "The lance does not destroy. It pulls. If we hit an engine with it, the ship loses control. It spins. It crashes into things." Jun-Ho nodded. "Good. We hit their engines. We make them crash into each other. We make chaos. Yes, chaos is our friend." Commander Tai Wu-Shin checked his weapons. He was old, but his hands were steady. "I still say we will die," he said. "But if we must die, this is a good way." Yuna Cho was at her station, ready to send messages. Minho Kang was in the engine room, pushing the Sejong's power systems as hard as they could go. Everyone was in their place. JUNHO opened a channel to the Orvani fleet. "All ships, this is Captain Park. Put all power to shields. Stay together. Do not try to run or fight. Just survive for 30 minutes. Help is coming." Velrus answered. "Captain, why are you doing this? We are strangers. We cannot pay you. We cannot help you. Why do you throw away your lives for us?" Jun-Ho thought about the question. He thought about his home on Earth, his mother, who taught him to always help others, his father, who died saving people from a flood. He thought about all the humans who had ever reached out a hand to someone in need. "Because you are people," he said, "and you need help. That is enough." Velrus was silent for a long moment. When she spoke again, her voice was thick. I do not have words. In my language, there is no word for this. For someone who dies for strangers. In my language, we call it being human. The Krell ships moved closer. On the dreadnought, the Krell commander looked at the tiny frigate and laughed. One small ship, standing between him and his prey. This would be easy. He gave the order to attack. Junho took a deep breath. Hannah, take us in. Full speed. The Sejong shot forward like an arrow. Straight toward the dreadnought. They are coming to us, the Krell commander said. Are they trying to surrender? No, sir, his officer said. They are accelerating. They are attacking. The commander laughed again. But this time, it sounded less sure. Why would one small ship attack? Did they not understand they would die? The Sejong flew closer. The Krell cruisers opened fire. Plasma bolts flew through space, bright and hot. But the Sejong was fast. Hannah Yoon had calculated every shot before it was fired. She knew where the bolts would go, and she made sure the Sejong was somewhere else. Now, Junho said, fire the lamps. A beam of twisted gravity shot from the Sejong. It hit the dreadnought's engine. The massive ship shook. Alarms screamed. The engine cracked, and the dreadnought began to spin. On the Avani flagship, Velrus watched. Her mouth was open. The tiny human ship had hurt the dreadnought, the most powerful ship in the Krell fleet. With one shot. Impossible, Thyra whispered. But it was not impossible. It was just the beginning. The battle for 30 minutes had started. The Sejong danced through fire. Plasma bolts flew past her hull, so close that the heat scorched the metal. But Hannah Yoon was faster than the Krell gunners. She knew where they would shoot before they pulled the trigger. She moved the ship like it was part of her own body. 2 cruisers coming from the left, she said. Her voice was calm, like she was reading a weather report. I see them, Junho said. Minho, I need more power to engines. In the engine room, Minho Kang was covered in sweat. The engines were already running at 120%. The metal was groaning. Warning lights were flashing everywhere. If I push harder, the engines will explode, he said. Then push to just before they explode. Minho laughed. It was a crazy laugh. The laugh of a man who knew he might die in the next minute. But he pushed the controls forward. The engine screamed. The Sejong flew even faster. The 2 cruisers tried to catch her. But the Sejong slipped between them, so close that the cruisers almost hit each other. As she passed, Hana fired the gravitational lance. One cruiser's engine died. The ship spun out of control and crashed into its partner. 2 down, Taiwu said. He was at the weapons station firing smaller guns at anything that got close. 6 cruisers and 1 dreadnought left. The dreadnought is still spinning, Yuna reported. It cannot aim. Good. Stay away from it. Focus on the cruisers. The Krell commander was screaming at his officers. This was not supposed to happen. One small ship was tearing his fleet apart. How? How is this possible? All cruisers surround the target, he ordered. Do not let it escape. The 4 remaining cruisers spread out, trying to trap the Sejong. They fired from all directions. There was nowhere to run. Hana smiled. They made a mistake. What mistake? They spread out. Now they are not covering each other. She pushed the ship forward, straight at one cruiser. The Krell captain panicked. He tried to turn, but the Sejong was too fast. Hannah flew so close to the cruiser that she could see the Krell through their windows. Their eyes were wide with fear. The lance fired again. The cruiser's engine exploded. The ship broke in half. 3 down. But the Sejong was hurting now. The shields were almost gone. Plasma bolts were hitting the hull. Metal was melting. Fires were burning in 3 sections. Taiwu led damage control teams through the ship. They sealed holes with emergency foam. They put out fires with their bare hands. When the foam ran out, they used their own clothes to block the holes. "Hull breach on deck 4, someone shouted. "Seal it," Taiwu ordered. "We cannot. The door is jammed." Taiwu ran to deck 4. The hole was big, and air was rushing out into space. A young officer was trying to hold a panel over the hole, but he was not strong enough. Taiwu grabbed the panel. Together, they pushed it against the hull. Taiwu held it there while the young officer welded it shut. The metal was cold from space, so cold it burned his hands. But he did not let go. "Done," the young officer said. Taiwu looked at his hands. They were covered in blisters. He did not care. "Back to your station," he said. "We are not dead yet." On the bridge, Junho watched the clock. 15 minutes had passed. 15 more to go. The dreadnought had stopped spinning. The Krell commander was screaming again, demanding blood. The massive ship turned toward the Sejong and opened fire. A wall of plasma flew toward them. There was no way to dodge it all. "Brace for impact," Hana said. "Dot the bolt's head." The Sejong shook like a toy. Systems exploded. Lights went out. For a moment, everything was chaos. Then the emergency lights came on, red and dim. Junho wiped blood from his forehead. "Report." "Shields are gone," Hana said. "Weapons are at 50%. Engines are..." "Minho?" From the engine room, Minho's voice came through, weak and tired. "Engines are alive. I do not know how, but they are alive." "Good enough. Keep moving." The Sejong limped forward. She was burning. She was broken. But she was still fighting. 20 minutes. The Krall cruisers closed in for the kill. They could see the Sejong was dying. They moved in like sharks, smelling blood. "Lance is offline," Hana said. "Main guns are offline. All I have left are point defense weapons. Then use them." Hana fired everything she had. Small guns, meant to shoot down missiles, now shot at cruiser engines. It was not enough to destroy them, but it was enough to annoy them. The cruisers slowed down, protecting their engines. 25 minutes. The dreadnought was getting closer. The Krell commander wanted to finish this himself. He aimed his main weapon at the Sejong. One shot would destroy her completely. "This is it," Taiwu said quietly. Junho nodded. He was tired. So very tired. But he was not sorry. They had bought 25 minutes. That was more than anyone expected. He opened a channel to the Orvani. "Admiral Velrus, we did our best. I am sorry it was not enough." Velrus's face appeared on screen. She was crying. "You did more than anyone has ever done for us. We will remember you. Forever." The dreadnought fired, and then space lit up with new lights. 4 ships dropped out of hyperspace, right behind the Krell fleet. Earth Coalition ships. They hit the dreadnought from behind with everything they had. The dreadnought's shot went wide. It missed the Sejong by meters. Junho stared at the screen. The Coalition ships were early. They had pushed their engines past all limits to get here faster. Because they heard the Sejong's battle. Because they refused to let their people die alone. "This is Captain Kim of the Guanghetto," a voice said over the radio. "Sejong, you crazy people. We will take it from here." The Coalition ships attacked. The Krell, already hurt and confused, fell apart. 2 cruisers exploded in the first minute. The others tried to run. On the bridge of the Sejong, the crew was cheering, crying, hugging each other. They were alive. Against all odds, they were alive. Junho tried to stand, but his legs were weak. The world was spinning. He realized he was hurt, more than he thought. Blood was running down his face, and his chest hurt when he breathed. "Captain?" Yuna's voice was far away. "Captain!" Junho smiled. Then he fell. The last thing he heard was Valrus's voice, saying something he could not understand. But it sounded like a prayer. It sounded like thank you. Junho opened his eyes slowly. Everything was white and soft. For a moment, he thought he was dead. Then he felt pain in his chest, and he knew he was alive. Dead people did not hurt this much. He was in a hospital room on the Guanjigo. Machines beeped quietly around him. His body was wrapped in bandages. But he was breathing. His heart was beating. He was alive. A face appeared above him. Blue-gray skin. Large dark eyes. "Hi, Admiral Valrus." "You are awake," she said. Her voice was soft, almost a whisper. "You have been sleeping for 3 days." Junho tried to speak. His throat was dry. Valrus gave him water, holding the cup to his lips like he was a child. "My crew?" he asked. "All alive. Some are hurt, like you. But everyone survived." Junho closed his eyes. "Thank God. Thank God? The Krell?" Valrus smiled. It was the first time he had seen her smile. 3 ships destroyed. 4 captured. 2 ran away. The dreadnought surrendered. My people tell me this is the first time in 200 years that a Krell ship has surrendered. Junho laughed. It hurt his chest, but he laughed anyway. "We were very lucky." "No," Valrus said. "You were very brave. There is a difference." She sat beside his bed. For a long moment, she did not speak. Then she said, "My people have a tradition. When someone saves an Orvani life, they become part of that person's family, their clan." She paused. "You saved 200,000 lives. What does that make you?" Junho thought about it. "Where I come from, when someone helps you, you share a meal with them. You tell stories. You become friends." "Friends?" Valrus said, like she was tasting the word. "I like this word. It is a good word." 2 months later, Junho stood before the United Nations on Earth. He was still healing. He still walked with a small limp. But he stood tall. Beside him stood Elder Morith, the spiritual leader of the Ovani. He was very old, with deep lines on his blue-gray face. He had seen his world burn. He had watched his people die for years. But today, his eyes were bright. "People of Earth," Morris said. Yuna Cho stood next to him, translating his words. "For 6 years, we have traveled through the stars, looking for help. We asked many species. All of them refused. They were afraid of the Krell. They did not want trouble. They looked away." He paused. The great hall was silent. Then we met humans. We were dying, drifting toward death. We had nothing to offer. We could not pay. We could not help. We were just tired, scared people who wanted to live. Morith looked at Junho. His old eyes were wet. "Your people did not ask what we could give them. They asked what we needed. When the Krell came, one small ship stood between us and death. One small ship, with a crew of 50 humans, fought against 9 warships. They bled for us. They almost died for us. Strangers, people they had never met." He turned back to the crowd. We asked them why. Their captain said something I will never forget. He said, "You are people. You need help." "That is enough." Morith's voice shook. "In my language, there is no word for this. For someone who gives everything to strangers. But I have learned your word. You call it being human." The hall erupted in applause. People were standing. Some were crying. On screens around the world, billions watched. The Coalition Council voted that day. It was not a hard vote. The Orvani would be welcomed to Earth space. They would be given a place to live, to rebuild, to heal. They were not strangers anymore. They were friends. 6 months later, Junho stood on a new space station orbiting Earth's moon. He had been promoted to Commodore. He did not feel like a Commodore. He still felt like a patrol ship captain who got lucky dot around him. Ovani construction drones worked alongside human workers. They were building something new, something neither species could build alone. The first human Orvani research station. Minho Kang was there, talking excitedly with Orvani engineers. He had become famous for his work combining human and Orvani technology. The new hybrid systems were better than either original design. Faster, stronger, more efficient. The universe is funny, Minho said. We thought our technology was very different. But when we put them together, they fit. Like they were made for each other. Sub-Commander Thera was there too. She was now the Orvani liaison to Earth. She and Lieutenant Hannah Yoon had become unlikely friends. I must apologize, Thera said to Hannah one day. When we first met, I thought humans were foolish, weak. I thought you would die quickly. Hannah smiled. And now? Tyra looked out the window at the stars. Now I think you're still foolish. But it is a good kind of foolish. The kind that changes things. Yuna Cho joined Junho at the observation deck. She had been named the first human Orvani ambassador. It was a big job for someone so young. But she had already proven herself. She had helped 2 species learn to talk to each other. She could handle anything. Commodore, she said, are you happy? Junho watched the workers outside. Human and Orvani, building together. In the distance, he could see Earth, blue and green and beautiful. And beyond Earth, the endless stars. The Krell are still out there, he said. They are still conquering, still hurting people. The galaxy is still dangerous. That does not sound happy. No, Junho agreed. But today, 200,000 people are alive who should be dead. Today, 2 species are working together who never met before. Today, we proved that you do not have to be strong to make a difference. You just have to care. He turned to Yuna. Someone once asked me why we helped the Orvani. They were strangers. They had nothing to give us. It made no sense. What did you tell them? Junho smiled. It was the same calm smile he had worn on the bridge of the Sejong when he ordered his ship to fly toward 9 enemy warships. I told them this is what humanity does. When someone needs help, we answer. We do not ask why. We do not ask what we will get. We just answer. Yuna nodded. She understood. Outside, the stars burned cold and bright. Somewhere out there, other species were running from danger. Other fleets were drifting toward death. Other people were crying out for help. But now, they were not alone. Humanity was listening, and humanity would answer.